Hey folks, I wanted to take just a moment and show you a little bit about the vacuum gauge, kind of how that works. We've got this van, the van that we remember, we've seen that before. Runs and drives okay. Wanted to show you, just because we know that this thing does run okay and it's fairly operational for what it is, what the readings look like on this vacuum gauge. So I'm going to flip the camera around, show you how this thing hooks up, and then show you just a little bit more about it. So on our gauge, I'm just going to set it right here so you can look at it. It's got two sides to it. It's got one for pressure and then one for vacuum. And so vacuum is just negative pressure, and we measure that in inches of mercury. And so while the engine's running, that should have negative pressure. It should have vacuum drawing in, because while the engine's running, it's trying to draw air in through the intake. And with the throttle plate closed, it's trying to draw that air in from somewhere else. So in this case, it's the vacuum lines. And so we've got several vacuum lines that we can choose from on this one. This one comes off pretty easily. Now I will caution you to be real careful about which vacuum line you choose, just because if you take one off that goes to like a fuel pressure regulator or something like that, then it may change the way the engine runs. So this one goes back to evaporative stuff, so that's not a big deal. We also want to make sure that we've got one that this vacuum hose can go on to. So this one takes a little bit of persuasion, but it does go on there, and so that's good. The way this thing is made, it's made with this rubber facing around it so that you can actually put this up on the windshield. Like this, so that you can kind of see what's going on while you're in the driver's seat. And usually the windshield's not that dirty and it's supposed to stay up there, but this one didn't. So I'm just going to start this thing, and we'll not be in the driver's seat, we'll just be here in mechanic mode under the hood. Okay, we'll put this out of the way. We want to make sure that this is not in the way of a fan or a belt or anything like that, so it's routed out through the back. And so we've got easy access to the throttle, and so we can look at this while we're doing the throttle stuff. So we're going to start this thing up. Okay, our idle is pretty normal. Again, for what it is. All right, so what we can see is that we're supposed to have 17 to 21. Let me get this over here. We're supposed to have 17 to 21 inches of mercury. Right now, we're right at 20, if you can read that, which pretty decent vacuum. Okay, pretty decent vacuum. So the engine, for all of its cosmetic faults, this van, it does have a good running engine, and so you can tell a lot from vacuum as to how the engine's running. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this back down here. I'm not going to say much, but I'm going to accelerate, and we're going to look and see what vacuum does. I'm going to actuate the throttle just from right here. Now what you'll notice is that that actually went to zero. It went to zero because it's drawing all the air in from the throttle body and not from the accessory ports. And so that went to zero, but then as soon as we let off the throttle, it went right back up. So that also tells us that we don't have an exhaust restriction. So for everything else, this thing's working out pretty good. So if we have a fluttering in here, we might have a valve issue or a timing issue. If it's real low, we may have issues with ignition timing or valve timing, or an engine that's jump time if it continues to run, which some of those do. But you know, this one is actually kind of doing pretty good. So for 300,000 miles, I'd say it's in pretty good shape. So that's our vacuum test, and stay tuned for more stuff.